Hello, Steve, and welcome to Fly Alive.
Well, thank you. It's a very innovative way of doing a show. I'm hoping we're still going to get some face-to-face meetings later on in the year, but this is a great initiative, so well done on it.
Great, thanks very much. So you're CEO of the Light Aircraft Association. Can you tell us what LAA does?
Where do I start? The LAA, and you can see from the poster behind me, the LAA is celebrating 75 years as an organization. And it started off to really enable home builders to build and then certify their aircraft and fly them. And we've grown over the years to having 7,700 members. We're Britain's largest powered sport flying association. And we don't just take in home builders these days. We've got an awful lot of aircraft which used to have certificates of airworthiness, used to have factory support. That's no longer available because the factories have long demised. And we provide the airworthiness support to allow those aircraft to fly as well. So we oversee permits to fly on behalf of the CAA for around about 2,600 active aircraft. And there are about another 1,600 restoration projects or aircraft that are in home build at the moment, which will be taken to the air sometime soon.
And what's you talk about home building. It's obviously a big thing of LAA. What's the range of aircraft that members can choose to build?
Well, the aircraft are as varied as the members, really. And we have everything from microlight aircraft and kit-built microlights through to plans-built classic aircraft where people will literally buy consignments of timber and make their own metal fittings and work to aircraft drawings, which will actually give them the opportunity to then build and fly their own aircraft. Of course, the big revolution in recent years has been kit-built aircraft, and the Vans RV range of aircraft and other similar aluminium aircraft, which now with the computer and precision manufacture of the parts literally are ever quicker to build. And we also have, of course, composite aircraft and the traditional wooden fabric. So it covers all sorts. And of course, gyroplanes too. We've now got over 150 gyroplanes, both factory built and amateur built, on the LAA permit system.
And if members, so a member wants to build an aeroplane, they use the inspector network. How does the inspector network work?
Yes, we have nearly 400 inspectors, which are approved inspectors. They have regular exams and updates to keep them abreast of the changes of technology. They're largely experienced aircraft engineers or have been home builders themselves or aircraft restorers. And they can provide both advice as well as physically inspecting the aircraft. And we have a fixed regime which actually starts with an inspection of the workshop to make sure it's going to be suitable for you to build your aircraft in. We have had people build aeroplanes in first floor flats, but we've got to always be a bit realistic about the fact that the neighbors don't like knocking the wall down to get the aircraft out at the end of it. We have now, as I say, about 400 inspectors, and they also look after inspection, at very least on an annual basis, of any aircraft which has a permit to fly, to allow that permit to fly to be renewed. And also any maintenance activities can be discussed with the inspector. They can give advice and then give the vital, what we call a second signature, to make sure that the aircraft is properly inspected before it flies again.
And if members are thinking of building, I think the LAA runs educational courses.
Oh yes, well, both for builders and for people who just want to maintain or restore their aircraft. When we come out of the COVID lockdown, we'll be starting activities again in a classroom, purpose-made classroom and workshop at our LAA headquarters at Weston in Northamptonshire. We do metalwork courses, teaching the riveting techniques and all the other techniques in order to put together a kit-built aircraft. We also do woodworking courses at a location near Swindon, where the specialist woodworking tools and, in fact, special timber stocks are stored. We have engine courses, so people want to know how to install, for example, the latest Rotax engines with electronic fuel injection systems. And we also do courses actually on electronics and electrics and solds, ranging from how to solder things together to actually designing your own electrical system.
So a member finishes their aeroplane. Can they? What happens if they want to? When it comes to test flying, do they have to test fly it themselves, or can they use someone from the LAA to test fly it?
A lot of our members, when they've finished an aircraft, naturally want to fly it themselves as soon as possible. We do quite often recommend, though, that having a professionally trained test pilot available to initiate the test flying and do maybe the first flight while the owner watches from the ground, and then to brief the owner to actually carry out a flight test program. And a lot of our approved test pilots have either been on our own LAA test pilot courses or have actually been trained in the military at the Empire Test Pilot School or at Pax River in the United States. And we're very lucky in that we have a cadre of very, very highly qualified pilots who are both interested and keen to offer their advice. So a first flight isn't as daunting as many people might think. It should be a verification of what you already know rather than a step into the unknown. And many members actually do satisfy us that they're qualified to carry out a first flight. And that has to be one of the greatest things in the world, an aircraft that you've either built from scratch or rebuilt as a restoration project, to be at the controls of the aircraft that you have handmade and put together in your own workshop. That is quite some feeling.
That is, yeah. And I think the LAA operates a coaching scheme, doesn't it? So that if members feel that they need to build on their flying skills, they can access coaches around the UK?
Absolutely. The pilot coaching scheme that we have is, again, voluntary. We have over 40 pilots who are qualified as class rating instructors. In other words, that they're qualified to train already extant PPLs. They're not ab initio instructors necessarily. And they have the skills which have been honed around LAA permit type aircraft, whether it be a classic tail dragger, a relatively high performance aircraft like a Vans RV8, or even a specific aerobatic type. And they can offer very specific advice. We also have some more fun activities as well. As we come out of lockdown, we'll be starting to look at doing strip flying courses, for example, teaching you how to operate, not from a big airport, but from a private flying site or a smaller farm strip, and the right protocols to operate from those. And that's very important because a lot of owners want to reduce their flying costs by potentially moving away from big airports and into smaller flying sites. And there is a specific skill set required to be developed to do that. In addition to that, of course, we recognize now that many of the LAA membership don't have the space and the time to build their own aircraft, but they will buy a previous builder's project. And those people really do need a little bit of assistance and support sometimes on how to maintain the aircraft, how to ensure it's in tip-top condition all the way through, and again on the flying characteristics, which might be slightly different from the usual flying club Piper Cherokee. And that is another thing that can be done through the coaching system and, of course, through our engineering training courses as well.
Fantastic. So LAA really is a very affordable way, probably the UK's most affordable way to fly after you've got your PPL.
Yes, and it's quite interesting. People sometimes think that other forms of flying, and there's nothing to knock them, I've got to say, other forms of flying, including gliding, including flex-wing microlight aircraft, and even paragliders. Some of these now are running into £5,000, £6,000, £7,000 machines. And in fact, in some of the more sophisticated microlights, you're probably paying over £50,000 for one. A lot of the aircraft in the LAA fleet, two-seat aircraft, you can get one probably with a bit of TLC required for about £10,000. And certainly £15,000 will buy you something where you could go touring once COVID again stops, touring the continent with impunity. If you wanted a smaller single-seat amateur built aircraft, you could probably be looking as little as £5,000 for a really good airworthy proposition. So it is very much affordable flying for fun, and that's been our motto now for 75 years.
Well, thanks for joining us, Steve. And I know that we'll have a member offer coming up for LAA, but just like to take the opportunity to say thanks for joining us. And if members want to find out more, obviously go and check out the LAA stand on the Fly Alive site.
Thanks very much for watching. As ever, please leave a comment, like the video, and if you haven't already, do subscribe to our channel for all the latest general aviation news.